All right, so calling this meeting of the Board of the North Whitby Pool Park and Recreation District. FYI, that's not what it says on the agenda. But calling the to order today, Thursday, January 24th. The time is 7:04 p.m. We did have a slight delay from the 6:30 for various reasons, and we apologize if that has been an inconvenience to anyone. Chairing the meeting, Vice Chair Shingleton, also present, Commissioner Hawley, Commissioner Hardin, Commissioner Hoffmeyer. Commissioner Merrill is not present this evening. Let's see. And so, board issues. Commissioner Hawley? None. Commissioner Hardin? None. Commissioner Hoffmeyer? No. Right. Nor do I have any. Do we have any agenda changes? Sounds like no. Okay. Public comment? Do we have public comment?
We do not.
Okay. All right. Minutes. I don't believe we had any to review, but I just wanted to remind that we did say that come February we're giving ourselves leeway to complete these until February, and then we're going to have the discussion next month about what we do to get caught up once and for all. So it's just a note for everybody to remind that, or to remember that. Let's see.
Pat was telling me that some are on this list that she's done. So I would say anybody else, I think the chair is forgetting to cross them off. So if you've done some and you know you did them and they've already been approved, send him an email and say, make sure you take off the agenda, because we did that already.
Okay. Oh, and you know what? I realized I forgot to discuss who's doing the minutes, and I believe it is you. Is that correct?
Yes,
did them. I had them for the last meeting. Okay. So yes. Commissioner Hardin will be doing the minutes. I apologize for not identifying that sooner. Let's see. And do you need us to back up with anything? Or are you good?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Let's see. North Whitby Community Pool and Recreation Foundation update.
Well,
Man.
I have a lot of news, some bittersweet. As of today, the foundation has contributed $20,000, $5,000 per month, as our MOU stated. We're at the $20,000 mark, and I'm really proud of that.
Thank you.
And in conjunction with that, we also funded the levy. So, and facilitated the Rotary's donation of $25,000 and helped with securing anonymous donors. As we proceed forward, there's a little uncertainty, I guess, with the foundation. I did have a well-publicized public meeting because to continue, we need board members. And one person came to that meeting, Brittany Johnson, who is a swim coach. And I sponsored that ad on the foundation page and spent quite a bit of money. So, I mean, it went out. People made lots of comments, but, getting people to actually sign on the dotted line. I have contacted Allie Paul because the foundation was really her dream, and she really wanted a foundation, and she kind of sold us on that idea, and that she was going to be the mentor, and she was going to do the paperwork, and so on and so forth. And I've said, it is all yours if you want it, and I will support you taking over. And if Brittany would like to continue on with that, and you guys can put some board members in place, you have till January 31st to decide. So far, they're not sure how they want to proceed. Because I plan on running for a commissioner seat in May. That is my goal, and I've really put some thought into it. And I feel like I can do everything really I did from the foundation as a commissioner. I can be in the public eye, connected to people at swim meets and parades and Rotary and luncheons, and I can do all that. And I sent Bill Walker a message earlier in the week just asking him just to shine some light on, can the district apply for grants, because that's something that I feel like we should pursue heavily. And he believes that there's absolutely no reason why the district cannot pursue grants, just like the school district pursues grants as a public entity. And so, because I didn't want to let go of the foundation for that one piece. If that was impossible, that just was really gonna kill me, because I think there's money out there to be had. And that was my goal of 2019, to write grants. So, for me, I will not be running the foundation, but I will be running for a seat, and I will stay connected. Hopefully there'll be some type of steering committee I can still be on or something to continue to do things for the district in the meantime. Well, that's all I have for today. And every month we have to shake down the Rotary to get their $5,000, but I will continue to do that.
Thank
Those
you.
kind of things, but you know, I just think it's the best possibility for me, because my board, 2 of them are Navy and leaving, and Misty just really, that was never her thing, and we really signed on the dotted line to open the pool and pass a levy, and that we did that, but there were not people that were committed to the long haul. That was really Allie's dream, and she has this dream of building a campus. I don't know where I am, over there, and if she wants to run with that and run a foundation, great, and she may do that, but for right now, I have not heard back. So, if you guys have any questions, I'll be glad to answer them, but,
Thank you. And can we
Yes.
just ask that if there is or when there is a decision made, if you or someone else would mind, I mean, even just sending us an email so that we can kind of just know
I know
kind
they're
of
going
where.
to meet tomorrow. and
Okay.
talk about it.
Okay. Yeah, an update kind of by the end of the month or whenever it's convenient
I would really
is.
would like to see it continue on,
Sure.
and I hope that it does. I mean, but it will not be the same connection to the pool. I really think they will work on the long-term dream. Oh, and the other thing is, I did meet with the swim coaches tonight, and if you would like to set up a swim camp over spring break, they all said they would be willing to help with that and recruit swimmers, and I will certainly help with that also.
When is spring break?
First week of April, right before we close.
Oh, so it is before? Okay.
Right before we close. So I think I think we need a way to get kids back in the water and just, reconnect people, and we're open, and they become natural swim club kids, and they grow that program. And I did talk to Rex too about maybe a youth triathlon club.
Super.
So
Thank you.
I can continue to help with that, just as crazy mom volunteer loves swimming.
Thank you. Okay, voucher review.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve vouchers 8074 through 8094 in the amount of $37,227, and payroll transfers from the M&O account to the payroll account of $12,645.29.
Is there a second?
For discussion, yes.
Commissioner Hawley, I believe that the total,
Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
Would
I
you
was looking at the wrong
amend
line.
that?
The total, I would like to amend it to the total amount for the district voucher 8074 through 8094 is $42,307.28.
thank you.
Yes, second.
All right, discussion. Commissioner Hoffmeyer?
No, that was it.
Yes.
Okay. And if everybody wants a minute to look at it, a meeting to refresh any notes that you have, feel free to do that.
I seen what happened when it happened. It came up that line instead of the bottom line.
Can we talk about the insurance premiums? How are we paying this $5,000 a month? Is that what we're doing?
Yes,
Okay.
and we paid 15,000 down,
Yeah, I saw
and
that.
then 5,000.
Okay. And we'll pay that till, we're paying that amount, obviously till it's paid, but how many months are we paying that 5,000 then?
It's like 12.
Oh, they actually broke it into 12 months for us? Huh. What's our, I thought our insurance was like 65,000.
Yeah.
It went down because we've got all those cars out there, and they were insuring those cars.
Oh my.
And I looked at it and said, well, we don't want those insured.
Thank you.
Need to call the
Good
scrapyard,
catch.
Yeah.
at least for a couple of them.
Well, no, and we talked about this, and we missed the opportunity to, anyway. So yes, we need to get rid of them, the ones that we're not using.
I just have a question about the account balances. So for example, the M&O operating on, is this a snapshot of the actual account balance on that date?
Yes.
Okay, I would be careful with that because that makes it appear, we had already written more, that we had written checks or had vouchers that aren't reflected in that total. So in other words, money that we spent. So for example, if it was at 77, but we know that we had, so the insurance isn't in that, and so I'm looking now at the treasurer's report, and that says 77, but this says 66, but we know that we have at least $20,000 in insurance payments. It's an imbalance somewhere that makes it seem like we have more money than we actually do. So I would just be careful of that. I don't know, I mean, at some point we probably should be clear about what we're reporting. And with the ones that don't change a whole bunch, I mean, that's not a big deal. I understand that. But this one, it's kind of like, is it your account balance or is it what's in your check register? And I realize that's an outdated term, but it's really what was in our check register at that time. Do you understand why I'm saying that? Okay, because I mean, we've spent at least 20,000 of that isn't, that I don't believe, or at least some of it can't be reflected here.
So it would be the 1227 transactions from the voucher report.
Which is,
That would be the difference, and then there would have
Okay.
also been some sweeps.
Okay, so sorry,
too.
okay.
Just some sweeps from the Whidbey Island Bank account that the county does.
Right.
Which is what the difference is.
Right, and I think we just have to be really clear about what, it's the, okay, this is the account balance at that point in time, but the thing is that's $20,000 difference, right? I mean, so that's, given the fact that that's about 12% of our money.
it's more than 20,000. It starts at
Oh, okay, so it's more than that. So I mean, that's potentially up to 20% of the money that we actually have. So it just is, it's a little bit, I appreciate the intent of it, but I think it's a little misleading. So we either need to mark what it is specifically so that we understand the difference, or we need to put basically what's in our register at that point in time.
I got the total right.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, because what's not reflected in that 66,000 is a lot of the vouchers that we know are being paid.
And the 66,000 is what our register reflected on 12/31/2018. The 1227 bills were generated on 12/27.
Right.
The county would have paid them out the first week of January 2019. So this was our actual register balance increase
Well-
on 12/31.
Okay, I guess perhaps I don't, because when I'm talking about register, it's about when you decrement something prior to actually posting to your account, right? I mean, we all do that if we write checks, even if that's a rare occurrence anymore.
We, the board, need to have a better handle on how much money we actually have, because we're approaching, that horrible, are we gonna have money to stay open until April? So this is misleading. This is, I believe.
If nothing else, I would at least put specifically, this is the, for example, this is the account balance on this date, which may not reflect, for example, in this case, it may not reflect some unpaid December vouchers, right? Something, even if we just conditionalize it a little bit more, that's fine too. It's just, it's an understanding of, well, one, these things don't match, and two, hey, guess what? This is like the upwards of our total, but it doesn't reflect some other things. And in this case, I think it certainly is a different month than others in the amount that it's going to hit us. But the thing is if we're making that $5,000 payment every month, that's sizable when you look at what we have left. So I just, either if we could find a better way to reflect it, or if we at least conditionalize it so that we understand what we're looking at. Does that make sense? Okay, thank you.
What I think I can do pretty easily is just notate below this how many outstanding bills Laura
Okay.
haven't posted yet.
That would be great, because that would be
Yes.
extremely
That
clear.
would-
Yeah, that would be
Yes.
fantastic.
And
Yes.
then also the amount of county sweeps, because those are the two numbers that are causing that discrepancy.
Okay.
So I'll just make a note to do that on the future ones.
That'd be great.
You have a question?
Yeah, I mean, I totally see where you're coming from on that one. And, you know, the only thing I'd point out there is, and it's a good thing, there are, let's see, 20, I think 20,000 left of the two MOUs total. So that's not really reflected anywhere as well. So it's gonna be tight, but we are gonna make April.
Right, and it's more of a reflection of, because I know, like the things that it's a battle to what thing do we need to replace now, because we know that there are impacts that we're still having, and there could be financial repercussions to those things, and so we need to understand where we're at. That's all. So I also have just a question about, so the payroll account, again, do we typically carry money in that?
Yes.
Okay,
And it is actually reduced from what we normally carry.
Okay.
Typically, we do a reimbursement from M&O through the county for L&I tax disbursements, and I have been holding those, just because I know we're gonna be tight, and I figured, discussion, those could be reimbursed, when we start receiving the money funding. So it's actually, about 1,000 lower than typically runs.
Okay.
It's typically run around 5,000.
is there a reason why we don't normally see that? This is I believe, unless I miss.
I've never seen something called payroll account before.
Yeah, nor have I.
That was something different to me.
It's one of our standard accounts, but our payroll runs through KeyBank.
Oh, that's why.
Sure why.
Well, it's like, remember you, for the petty cash account, we haven't, until like the last couple months, we didn't really know what that was. It's like, we always got these other ones, the ones that were, the county did for us. So this is our account, we have money in the bank, we would like to know that.
And the payroll account, that's something that we actually don't have access to the statements for. Tony will send them over if we request them, but that's completely controlled by the county.
Wait a minute, so the county decides what money to put in this account?
We transfer money to it, but nobody associated with the district directly is a signer on that account. So the statements all get forwarded from Tony when we request them. And he usually sends them over monthly as a matter of course.
Then if we could include those, because I think I expected we would see them. I didn't realize it was an outside account, but I expected we would see them as part of the treasurer's report. If we can just add that, because it is a public, I mean, it is a matter of public record, right? I mean, so it's not just for us to know, it's also, it's transparency. Even if, and if there's a different way of reporting it this way, whatever makes the most sense, if there's something that you get that you can just include, that's great. If you don't, even if you want to, do it this way, that's great too. I had you not done it, to be honest, we wouldn't have known the difference. But that's part of trying to create transparency with anyone and everyone as to what's out there.
Yeah, I can include it the same way I do petty cash.
Okay, that'd be great.
Can I ask one other
Of
question?
course.
It's not technically about the vouchers, but, and maybe it's been covered before, but why do we have a credit card in Matt Morris's name
Good point.
instead of,
Rex's
somebody who's actually an employee or?
I think that had been asked and possibly answered a couple meetings ago.
Yeah.
And it involved the fact that some of the, like the payroll processing company or somebody like that was set up on like a one-year contract with it. So I think that was part of it.
So
As they
that-
get stuff
You
actively
can
coming out
change
of it.
that.
Well, so part of it, I think initially, the plan had been to close it out, and then when we had to order the fluoridator, that was the only credit card that has a high enough credit limit to make the down payment that they require. And so it was used for that. That card expires at the end of this month though, and I have opted not to activate the new card. So it'll just automatically go away and everything will transfer over to the other credit card.
Okay, are we gonna get a card that has a high enough balance or,
Limit. Yeah, limit.
Okay, limit.
We will have to figure that out. I know previously, I believe Bill Walker had a district credit card, so I don't know why we wouldn't be able to open one in Rex's name but have that higher limit.
Yeah.
But you'll be looking into that?
Yes.
Okay, because I think that would be the route that would make the most sense, because yeah, it made me feel really uncomfortable to have his name on it, even though we know that he's not associated with it, but,
Right.
and actually for that very reason, but, okay. Any other, go ahead.
Rex, have you received the minutes that you needed to receive to be the signing or whatever?
No, we haven't.
Okay, we need to try to get a hold of Sean and get those minutes that we approved to him. The district still hasn't received them, to make Rex the signer.
Okay, do we recall what date that is?
Sean should have them in his computer, he definitely knows.
Okay.
Let's approve some minutes. It's about time.
And then we approved of them. There was a
Yeah.
Wi-Fi issue, and I think it's just hanging out there. Sean was gonna send them when he got home.
Yeah, those are the ones we looked at on the computer, right? Okay, thank you. I was just trying to recall, but okay. I will follow up with him to try to get those done ASAP.
No, that's whole name up there.
Okay. Are there any other questions about the financial stuff? All right, it has been moved and seconded that we approve vouchers 8074 through 8094 in the amount of $42,307.28 and conduct payroll transfers from M&O account to payroll account in the amount of $12,645.29. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries unanimously. I know, I almost forgot. All right, so let's see. Next, committee reports. Clover Valley Committee, is there any report?
Yeah, Brad Kisball, I think he's the president of the Babe Ruth or Low Cover Baseball Association, however they got that set up, met with Rex and I. Bill Young is here as well, representing them, I would think. So maybe we can let him talk if maybe, and let Rex speak to it as well. I know the Babe Ruth organization, they have a lot of upgrades that they're actively working on doing, other that they want to do. And like they had mentioned to us, I believe a couple months ago, they're just wanting a long-term commitment from us that they will continue to be the anchor tenant before they, I mean, it's probably $50,000 or more that they're willing to put into this place. And they just want to know that they're going to be the tenant for a while, and Rex could probably speak more to that.
Yeah, from what I understand, they've been doing this for a very long time, and pretty much on their own. Everything they do, and they've had a lot of vandalism out there, so they've had to repair things. A lot of things are not up to code. We budgeted $10,000, and I think that may be the first time you've ever received any money out there.
Since 2005. 2005, we got a grant for $10,000. That's how we put the backstop up in baseball, and then Babe Ruth or myself, we contributed the dugouts and the other stuff. But a lot of stuff was donated, as well as concrete, topsoil, things like that. And that's sort of what Brad's doing now. He's got, I know the other day, this past week, we put in some drainage lines through the field to help it better drain. We're getting mud through March, April. We got 25 yards of drainage rock donated from Jet City. He's got heavy equipment he's using, which I believe also was donated from Jet City. And he's got one of his laborers that works for him. He hired him to work with him on Monday to dig and backfill and do things like that. So he's putting some money into it. It's just what happened last week. I've been gone for a couple months, so he was supposed to be here tonight. I tried to call him twice. I don't know why. He's not here.
And we did approve $10,000 to contribute to the improvements to the park for this year. So if that is Brad aware of that as well? Okay, good. Okay.
My understanding is it's going to go towards the fencing on what used to be the softball field, which is now a combined softball Cal-Ripken field, because the bases have been adjusted so that you can do both. The dirt.
Yeah. Yep.
Doing all that. And he's got friends of his that are donating fencing and stuff, so
Good. And if we can keep track, I'm looking at you, but because I don't know where else to look right now, right? But if we can kind of continue our process of certificates of appreciation, or and whatever else we feel is necessary. I mean, that if we can keep track of who those donators are, and helpers and all of that, that would be great.
Yeah.
Okay. So I just to try to make sure that we're appreciating the right
Well,
organizations.
from what I understand, and maybe I'm speaking out of whatever, but this guy back here has been a major contributor. For
Absolutely.
years.
Yes, he has.
Yeah.
Yep. And we're trying to make sure that we come to the table and contribute as well. Yeah.
Mr. Earl cover baseball.
Exactly.
You got kids. You've sent kids to the majors, haven't you?
He's not there. He dropped out, but he did.
Yeah. He made it though, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Bill is.
My favorite story there is, did that go over? And I'm asking myself, is he talking about the road or the fence? Because he put the ball, and this is a 12-year-old playing with a 17-year-old team.
Nice.
He put it in the middle of the road out, off the road.
I'd like to add, he was also an NWAC kid, that's my wife.
He was. That's right. That's right. I forgot about that. Bill jumped in. Bill jumped in probably 2 years ago and worked with some of my pitchers just for a day or so, and I think every kid probably threw the ball 5 or 6 miles an hour harder, and we went to the state championship that year. So solid guy. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you. Levy committee, we signed. I'll get Sean to sign the certificates. I don't think we have any other updates, do we? I think we can probably.
We passed the levy.
We may have already given that update, but
Oh, okay.
but yes, but we can do that every month if you want. We can say that every month. Absolutely. Let's see, action item review. We don't have we have not been using that, so we're going to skip that. Let's see, unfinished business district property. I don't know where to look on this one, so I'm going to look at you again.
I passed information along to Sean, who to contact, and there's a procedure that he needs to go through in order for the real estate guy to do what he needs to do so he can just sell it.
Okay.
But that,
Okay, so we're in it's on our side, and needs some action for that to take place. All right, I'm going to add that to my little list. All right, next.
Would that be an action item review for next time to the chair?
Sure.
It's like, Chairman, did you do this thing that?
He told me that he couldn't go sign it when I asked him to, because you guys had not voted on it.
Right, but then for that, I think that's okay. So yeah, I think that's but we need to have something for us to do so that this doesn't keep happening. Meaning that we move on this. Okay, so employee handbook.
Oh, okay, so all of you have the draft copies, and what I wanted, my plan is, if you all have a consensus, so I broke the one employee handbook into 3 different documents. The regular employee handbook, which is for the 17-year-old lifeguard. The executive employee handbook, which is for Rex and those couple of other people that actually are kind of executives and have things like have to worry about travel, pay, and other things that lifeguard doesn't worry about. And a policies and procedures manual into which I think all of the really lengthy policies and procedures that are more for an HR person than for an employee, and it basically protects us legally. That's what I would recommend we do. So I sort of wanted a consensus, and we can, at the end of this review process, you can tell me, no, let's go back to just one. And that'll be fine, I'll let someone else do that. But, so what you've got is, you've got the draft copies of the employee handbook, the executive employee handbook, and just the table of contents for the procedures manual. Because my computer went weird on me this afternoon, so I couldn't print it out. but I will, so what I would like to do is, next month, we will discuss the employee handbook, which you have. The month after that, we'll do the executive employee handbook. And the month after that, the policies and procedures manual. So I anticipate then we will finally, around April or May, be able to say, yep, we approve it. And I also included a draft resolution
See that?
that will replace, the resolution that had to run. So, nothing's graven in stone, it's all just fine. And one thing that I wanted to ask about tonight too, I was in the employee handbook, and I think this was something that the last director, he stuck it in because I didn't think it was part of the employee handbook. But the employee discount was graven in there. And I don't mind having it mentioned, but I don't think we should put, oh, it's 20% or 30%. I don't want to make it permanent because I think the board should have the flexibility to change that without having to change this manual. So think about that with the employee. I just took it out completely. It doesn't mean it does exist. It is a benefit, but it's just something I didn't put in here, but we can put it in as a mention and just not be specific about what percentage it is.
So if we want to discuss this or updates to this in February, so the employee handbook, are you looking for feedback prior to our February meeting? And if so, when?
How about, yes, if you send me the feedback the week prior, by close of business Friday,
Okay.
the week prior to the meeting, then I can make those changes if it's like, oh yeah, absolutely. Or, I'll come prepared to discuss it. But
So by February 22nd,
yes.
so for February 22nd, any revisions, and how do you want those sent? Since we're getting this hard copy, how do you want to do that? What's the best way?
Do you want, the one that I have on my computer is so ugly because I've gone in and made so many changes. And so if you look at the revised one, you can't read it. It's not legible until you just change it to this. But does anyone prefer reading something on the computer? If you do, I will send it to you, computer-wise.
How are you looking to receive the updates is what I'm asking, really, because then we would have to give these to you. Or do you want to figure that out and do that individually with each person?
Yeah, I'm actually better with paper, so I would prefer somebody scribble on it and hand me a paper copy, and you could just turn it in here and I can pick it up.
All right, so then the action item for everyone is by end of day on Friday, February 22nd, the section employee handbook. And then what we're also then targeting is for March, the executive employee handbook, and then for April, the policies and procedures manual, but we'll get more to this beforehand? Okay.
I don't think
I feel done with this one. I feel like I'm done.
I don't think I'm going to get it done this week. It's probably next week. And so when I have it done, I'll put copies in your folders out front. And like I said, anybody who wants it online, I can absolutely send it to you online. But I wanted you to have the others so that you can, if you have a question, it's like, oh, wait a minute, don't we have blah, blah, blah? You can look and say, oh, okay, it's here. And that was why I made sure you had all of them.
I have one more question for you on this. Sorry, did you have a question?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, just a point to make on this. As a board over the last couple of years, we have taken on and are solving decades worth of issues, decades worth of problems. The amount of work that Commissioner Hawley has put into this has been pretty impressive, and it's been a process to watch over 2 years probably. I mean, to really
I think
watch
it started 4.5 years ago.
To watch it become what it needs to become. But there was an employee handbook here that it wasn't worth the paper it was written on, simply put, and pretty shocked that it didn't cause litigation, etc. And it's very exciting to see these problems getting solved. And thank you very much for your work on this.
Yes.
I do have one question for you.
Yes.
Now, is this did you leave the text as it is currently, or did you make updates to it?
I made updates.
And how do we know what those updates are, or do we not know what those updates are?
I will send you the copy and you can look at it. Honestly, it is so ugly when you look at the...
Right, and I'm probably the only one who, maybe I don't care. I think maybe I need to start fresh after doing this 3 times.
I think that's the best thing.
Okay.
It's what
Okay, that's fine.
I have to do it when I'm enough away from this process of this last week where I've been cutting and pasting a lot of stuff. I need to look at it just from the beginning again. And I think there are still places in here where it'll actually refer, go see Appendix D or whatever, and it's like, and that's wrong. So especially those kinds of things, please be on the lookout for, because I think I caught most of them, but I found one last night that I was like, oh man, there's another. So it's not perfect, and I admit that, but I think it's better than what we've had. And I'm just trying to, that 17-year-old, I want him to have something, he or she, have something, and it's like most of this, the employee handbook is appendices, which they don't have to read. It's just a bunch of forms and stuff. So I think most of it is stuff they really do need to have, need to know, and I would hope that their supervisor will go over it with them, or we have training, especially, like sexual harassment and bloodborne pathogens and all that really fun stuff.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right, next item is Business Plan 2019. Do you have an update?
Or,
The operational plan.
no, if you read my director's report, I speak to that. It's basically saying that I'll have more detail about the operation in that report next door.
And that was the target, actually. I know that you and Sean are working on it. Okay. All right, the Biosphere website, let's just call it out. Are there any outstanding? Okay.
Okay, and I almost wrote it last night or this morning at 3:30. But are we writing it first person or?
I have one that's kind of first person and one that's kind of third person, and that is all I have so far. So either way.
What are we writing it as if someone else is writing it, or are we writing it first person to be more friendly?
I think it doesn't. I think put it this way: write it, and then it can be fixed if it needs to be fixed. Just write it, right?
Okay.
Like, just write it, because I mean, things are easy to change pronouns and whatnot.
Right.
So
Okay,
I wouldn't let that hold you up from the process.
Agreed.
I will get it to you tomorrow.
And you will complete yours.
God, I hope so. I've been so busy in here. God, I hope so.
Use the copy and paste from your letter to the editor you wrote prior to the levy,
Okay.
because that was pretty well written, I think.
Okay.
And I think it summed you up fairly well.
Okay.
And since I'm making my follow-up list, have you received Commissioner Merrill's?
I have not.
Okay, we'll add that to my
I've been
list.
busy enough. I don't remember writing the letter to the editor, but I will Google it. It's been a crazy year.
You can
No,
find it. You can find it on the Whitby News Times
I
website.
vaguely remember it. But it probably was in the middle of the night.
All right, district bios.
April, as it says here. Is it April? Hurry up, April. Yes, please.
Next, improvements for dog park fence line.
Have we? Sean is supposed to talk. Have we heard anything from the Master Chief? I will give him another call. Actually, since I don't.
I shook my head, no.
What?
You guys didn't see it.
Okay, yeah, right. I wasn't quick enough. I did not catch that.
I'll give him a call.
Okay.
I gotta find his number somewhere. But I
You
will.
could use the Keller Williams people on that May 9th, they're all volunteering if you need them.
Keller Williams.
Their day of service they are giving to us. They're dedicating their time to us, and so if that would, okay, thank you. I couldn't remember the
What-
actual term.
What's the date?
I believe it's May 9th, and they will, every single person that works with Keller Williams' office in Elk Harbor will be at our disposal.
I'm hoping that we're gonna have it done before then, Because the dog park people are like, have been, you know.
I know, but it's almost February, so just it's an option.
No, you are absolutely correct. If the Navy fails us,
I
then.
can allocate people out there and to the baseball fields if you need help or something.
Okay. And I would think, even if we have finished with the fence line, we should try and come up, find some things that,
So they're included.
yeah. Because, you know, it makes it all a community property. And it is a community property. Okay.
Okay,
I forgot to mention. So.
thank you. All right, bird bios and pictures. Okay, some of us did better at this than others. But you guys will do that after and then play catch up. Okay. New business, community advisory board. Did you want to start speaking to it? Do you want me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm just gonna go through what I was sent from Commissioner Merrill. And so the concept, Community Advisory Board would contain group program representatives from things like swim school, volleyball, water aerobics, contracted users from the school district, MWR, the Blue Heron Aquatic Club, folks from the dog park and Little League, Skagit Valley College. The board would also have a member of the foundation should it move forward, and one or two district commissioners sitting on that group as well. The board would meet either monthly or bi-monthly to advise our Board of Commissioners in regard to operations, capital projects, and the needs and interests of the community. The board would assist in identifying needs, funding requirements, and sources. As mentioned, this board is to advise and assist the director, staff, and Board of Commissioners with moving forward as we reopen the facility, develop new business models, and continue with our mission to the greater community of North Whidbey Island. He also just kind of mentions that it's a good way for end users, well, that it's used, that other park and rec districts use it, including Fidalgo, it's a good way for end users to also communicate and understand each other's needs, and understanding that part of that is always a balance. Let's see, and it will assist with some programs that want to add or change things, and helping us identify how to do that, where we are sometimes constrained. Perhaps those groups can help us identify revenue solutions, things that would be acceptable. Let's see. Provide a means for creative and new thoughts and ideas from our end users as we move forward rebuilding the district. So that's what I got from Sean last night. And I think, so what I would ask, I think the best thing for us to do as of right now is, we can have a discussion about it, absolutely, but I think it's really about what are the open questions that we would have as to, I'm assuming, just because I think we've heard from everybody, I think there's a consensus that yes, we think this is a good idea, right? So instead of kind of talking to that, part of it is what are the open questions that we have that we would want to see as part of this proposal, resolution, whatever, so that we can, what are the open things that we have that he could come to us with, since he's the one who's organizing it, come to the next meeting with, so that we could try to move forward. So if you know of any questions, I'm happy to write those down. And if you have anything to add, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to usurp that.
You did a fine job.
Okay.
I have a question.
I think if you could wait. Okay.
Yeah,
Sorry. Thank you. No, thank you.
Very excited to see this come into fruition. I think the makeup of it, the consensus of the members. I think that's spot on. Maybe we throw in a doctor, or maybe we get somebody from City Hall on there. But I think we're really close. And the only other thing is, I'm gonna cover for Sean just a little there. Sean's a baseball guy. Sean loves baseball. I think he was a catcher back in the day. His favorite player was Johnny Bench. So the only place I was going with that is, I promise Sean knows the difference between Little League and Babe Ruth, and I know what he meant to have there. Okay. And we will certainly clear that one out.
Don't.
Apologies, apologies.
And
Right.
as Bill said, both, and I think that's fair. I think that's very fair.
You might also tie in the city of Oak Harbor Parks and Rec.
Yes.
Thanks, Randall. Because he meets quarterly to address all the different needs for soccer, baseball, football, everything. And he has meetings that does that. So
Yeah.
some representative from that group probably would be.
And maybe we go with the consensus like that, and maybe we leave 2 or 3 of the seats that are open, and maybe it's hard to get people to show up, but maybe we leave a couple as just open seats and then put out an application, if you will, see if anybody's interested, to seek the letters of interest, I guess.
Right, and yeah, I mean, I would say I think that there are probably members at large that don't
Absolutely.
represent any program have an
Absolutely.
opinion
Yes,
as
I
well.
think so.
So, yeah,
Yes.
but that, I think you're right on.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think, things that I think we would want to look at are, how many members. I know that he has a proposed frequency, but I think that's the frequency of the meetings. I think the other thing is understanding of how that process will work. So is it a voting group, or is it you just bring back everybody's feedback as brainstorm? Just some of those things are what we would like to see. But then part of it is that's what we need to see to say, yeah, let's do this. I think as part of the organization of the group, so that when it's started, it has a structure that's understood. Right. That's part of understanding. Is defining those things ahead of time.
I think it would be an advisory group. There may be voting in the advisory group on something, but they wouldn't be making decisions the board normally would make.
Oh, no, but it was part of the, so if it's a voting group where you kind of say majority rules, how do you pick your representation? And again, maybe some of these details don't matter right now, but they have to be considered at some point. What's the length of tenure of someone who's volunteering typically? And really that's less of if we don't want the same person. It's if there are people who are interested in doing that representation. Maybe it's the opposite. I don't know, right? But just a definition of how that's going to work, so that we understand what that is. Is it one person from each one of these groups? Is it more than one person from larger groups? That's part of what I think needs to be defined. And I think that would be. I think those are the things that we need to help define before it gets started, and that could be adjusted as needed. Any other?
No, I did have.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Sorry, I did not come back to you. I'm sorry about that.
Well, I just wondered if we could have what Sean sent you. And I know you have all the rules about, communication.
He could have sent it to everybody. He sent it to me. But
so
yes, we could.
We can start next month talking about it from, everybody knowing
The same thing.
It's just like the draft.
And what my plan was to do is to take down what those things that we kind of wanted to ask, and ask him can you send this to everybody as a draft proposal? Oh, right. That was the intention, because one, there was no expectation, or at least I think for most of us, that we would be voting on this tonight, because we simply don't have enough. There isn't enough decided, but we also have the part of what we work under is that when we're bringing up new things that affect the district, we don't vote on them the first time we talk about them.
No, I wasn't talking about voting on it now. I was talking about
yeah.
knowing what I'm voting on next month or whenever. So.
Right. Absolutely. No, yeah. I agree. And part of that, again, is we need a proposal put in front of us that we can say, yep, we agree to that.
Yes.
Okay. Or no, and here's what I'd like to see different, or whatever.
Right.
No, agreed. Absolutely.
Now that Commissioner Singleton read what Sean's proposal was, if you will, read it into the minutes, I guess. Could you go ahead and send that out to us? Absolutely. Thank you. Now that it's already been read into the minutes, so we'll get it before the minutes. But cool.
Okay.
And I think we should let Sean. I mean, it's public record anyway, but I think we should let him do a proposal, because that's. Yep. We have open questions. Let's just let him do the proposal, and and get that to us, because then hopefully it's going to answer our questions or be something that we can either get behind or ask more questions about. Okay.
Tear it apart.
Don't send it to everybody? Or-
It's up to you. I mean, it's up to you. I don't think it erases the need for a proposal, for a real proposal. Okay, so, I mean, if anybody wants it, sure.
I'll send it to all of you.
Okay, thank you.
And
I'll give my email address.
All right, and so moving on, pool shutdown schedule and review of potential improvements.
Well, you had from the last board meeting all of the improvements we were talking about making. We have a couple of things that are added to that. The recent backflow, what do you call it, but anyway, the backflow part, which came as a surprise this week. And I'm not sure what else you would like to know about that, other than it's,
But we know that we'll have next month. I'm simply just moving through the items. So we've already previously stated that part of that is we'll have the plan for the shutdown and reopening. We'll have a draft plan in front of us next
and then
month.
there are a lot of little things that, will be on the report that, like things like fixing the shower or fixing a boiler or fixing that kind of thing. But that'll be detailed with dates on it that we plan to fix that or replace it.
Okay. All right, staff reports. We have Rex's director's report.
Have that.
Yep. Are there any questions about that?
Would anybody like a copy of that? Director's report.
That box really put in there. There's open floor and
All right, any other reports? Julie, did you have any updates for us that you want us to know?
I know that Rex mentioned in his director's report that we had resolved the internet issue we had been having. It was kind of ironic timing because when the Frontier guy was here fixing the internet, they did give us a new router, which has given us improved service so far. But while he was here, I was on the phone with someone from Comcast. You guys may remember a couple or 3 years ago that the previous director and Joanna looked into switching to Comcast, and it was very costly. That is no longer the case. And they quoted us a 36-month term that saves us about $30 a month from what we're paying currently, and it adds back the second phone line for us and gives us a lot better quality of internet. So we've started the process for that.
Cool.
That's really my best update right now.
No, that's great though.
Yeah,
That's
so
great.
I was so happy.
Yeah, I mean, the productivity losses
Yes.
will hopefully
Yes.
not occur again. So that's awesome.
Yes.
Cool. All right. Final board comments. Mr. Hopfire?
The only thing really at this point is, basically the last sentence there on the director report. It took a pool to raise a community tax, and that sums up the whole last year. It really does. It's just amazing to see how quickly things can turn around with enough hard work and determination and the right people walking through the doors. And, I think that says it all.
Yep.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Commissioner Hawley?
And I would like to express the deepest thanks to Ms. Julie for your time on the foundation and pushing it through and raising so much money, getting levy passed. I mean, it would not have happened without that foundation.
Well,
I honestly
I do it all again. I think it's worth it, and that's why I'm going to stick around and see it through.
And I just want to thank you so much.
Very welcome.
That's all I have.
It's been great. I think it's been great. Really, I mean, today I was at the swim meet and just seeing all those kids in the water, and I mean, I just cannot imagine it not being open. I almost take it for granted, and then I come to something and I go, wow. And I'm telling you what, without shame, it would not be open. because he's worked every
Yeah.
single day since September. And it's heroic, and it's, I don't know, I think he deserves a special gold medal or something, or trophy, or a lifetime membership for free. I mean, for real. I mean, the hours, if you add up, he's our biggest donor, right there.
It's a good way to put it.
Thank you.
Good way to put it.
It's been worth it. I'd like to be able to say I'd have enough energy to do it again, but I don't know. But it's been worth it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Hard?
Just agree with everybody.
Excellent.
No,
You're so agreeable.
Well, and Dave gets a medal too.
He sure does.
He sure does.
this is
I mean,
grass.
we didn't even know
There
the
we
lights
go.
outside the pool existed till today.
Isn't that right?
Well, did you know that 2 of these lights were out before? Now we're in a.
Well, that was actually purposeful. That was on purpose to save money. It was. No,
I know.
hey, that's what we were told when we were. That's what we were told.
Well,
That's what we were told.
On the saving money front, so God, it was 3 or 4 years ago, there was a type of LED light bulb that I really encouraged that we go with. At the time, they were kind of pricey at the time, but they last 21 years. Now the price is down to, I think, $12 a bulb or something, and that's what we have.
Yes.
And they're LED. They use like a tenth as much power, and they last 21 years.
Excellent.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
They last a long time.
I bought one of
Yeah,
those
they last a long
LED
time.
lights that was supposed to last like 9 or 10 years, and it's like 6 months later.
Oh, no.
In it. Yes,
Okay.
so.
These toggle ones are starting to-
Coming back to the meeting, the only thing I wanted to mention is it's really nice to see on the Facebook page that our open swims are often filled to capacity. And I mean, it's great to get that communication, but it's also just really nice to see that it's day after day after day. It's really exciting, and I get excited every time I see it.
We haven't been posting it, but the lap swims have been pretty near capacity as
Cool.
well.
That's
impressive.
actually, that's even, yeah, in some ways that's even better.
That is impressive.
So, I mean, that's really great, and I appreciate the communication to people who might be looking at it, but for probably the majority of us who see them, we're just waving our arms because we're really excited to see that. So, it's wonderful. So, our next meeting is Thursday, February 28th at 6:30 p.m. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Let's see, this meeting is adjourned at 8:01 p.m. Thank you much to all.
Don't forget pictures.